All right, brothers, let me walk you through something that's been circulating all over the internet. A short clip popped up on my feed a few weeks ago. A woman sitting in her car, makeup smudged, eyes red, talking to her front camera in that half-laugh, half-cry way people do right before they break. The video exploded. Millions of views, duets, stitch videos, think pieces. What was she talking about? Not that men are trash. Not that there are no good guys left. The opposite. She was saying she only meets good guys now and she still can't feel anything for them. No butterflies, no urge to kiss him, no desire to see him again. Just nothing. Let's walk through what she said. And then I'm going to break down what's really going on underneath it, because this is not about one random woman on the internet. This is a pattern. She starts off by saying something like, "I told myself I would never talk about my dating life online, but I feel like I'm losing my mind and I just need to say this somewhere." She had just gotten back from a third date. Not a horror story. No shouting, no cheating, no obvious disrespect. He picked a nice place. He listened. He made her laugh a few times. He paid the bill. He walked her to her car, told her to text him when she got home safe. She literally says he did everything right. I know he's a good man. And I'm just sitting there feeling blank, not less excited than usual. Not something is missing, just empty. She says she's gone on date after date with guys like this. Good careers, attractive, polite, emotionally available, want a relationship, and yet, she says, when she gets home and shuts the door, there's no urge to text, no fantasy about a future, no rush to see him again. Just a dead screen and this heavy, sinking feeling of, what is wrong with me? Then she turns the gun on herself. She says she feels like, I'm just another face in the key crowd to them. I don't feel special anymore. I used to be fun and flirty and charming, and now even answering messages feels like work. She describes it like going into every date, already tired, emotionally overdrafted before the bill arrives. No sparkle, no energy, no playfulness. Just a version of herself on low power mode, and that's the first big clue. It's not that men are failing her. It's that she doesn't feel alive anymore. Her dating life feels like back-to-back job interviews with people she's not excited to work for. Then she says something that hit a lot of people. I know my person is out there, but I don't think I have the bandwidth to find him. She talks about a friend who kept dating through a divorce, a move, a family illness, still showing up to dates, still putting herself out there. She admires that kind of resilience. But she also admits, I don't have that in me. I thought I was done. I thought I had my forever. Doing this again feels like lifting a car. And you can hear the exhaustion in her voice. This is where the internet jumped in with their theories. The top comments. She's on antidepressants. She's emotionally burned out. She's got the ick with everyone. She's depressed and trying to date on empty. Therapists started stitching the video saying, I hear this from women in their late 20s and early 30s all the time. That exact age when biology whispers it's time. Pick a man, build a nest, start your life. And yet when these women finally sit across from men who seem like great long-term partners, they feel nothing. They want connection. Their life stage is screaming for connection. Their body is ready for connection. But their nervous system, checked out. Brothers, this is not an isolated glitch. This is a widespread pattern, and most people only touch the surface. Modern dating sucks. Apps ruined everything. Men are this. Women are that. That's not good enough. We're going deeper. Because until you understand what's really happening, you're going to take this personally when you sit across from a woman like this. You're going to think, I'm not enough. I'm boring. I must be doing something wrong. When in reality, something very different is going on. Before we keep going, drop a quick comment saying numb switch if you've ever felt like you were doing everything right with a woman and she still came back with, I just don't feel that spark. It helps push this message to more men who need to hear it. And if you want to be part of a community of men who think clearly, sharpen each other, and refuse to sleepwalk through modern dating, stay with me. We're building exactly that here. Picking up where we left off, let's talk about how so many modern women arrive in this emotionally flat place by their early 30s, because this didn't just randomly appear out of nowhere. If you zoom out and look at the last 10-15 years of dating culture, you see the same storyline repeat. For a lot of women today, their entire 20s look like this. Constant swiping, flew-in vacations, nightlife every weekend, hookups, and we're not labeling it situationships, DM attention from guys they never meet, friends hyping each other to live your best life. The priority isn't build a life with someone. It's collect memories, collect stories, collect validation. I'm not talking about going on a few dates and having some innocent fun. I'm talking about years of getting intensely attached, then suddenly cutting it off, giving her body to men she never really trusted, getting hyped on chaos, drama, highs and lows, sleeping with guys who explicitly said, "I'm not looking for anything serious," then secretly hoping he changes. And while she's doing all of this, nobody is explaining to her what that lifestyle does to her long-term bonding system. Because emotional bonding is not magic. It's not a switch you flip at 30 when you say, "Okay, now I'm ready to settle down." It's wiring. It's chemistry. It's hormones. It's repeated patterns. Think of it like this. Deep attachment is built through consistency. Trust is built through safety. Attraction settles into love when novelty calms down. But if for almost a decade, her pattern is attach, detach, get hurt, shut down, get bored, ghost, get overwhelmed, move on, her brain adapts. One therapist put it like this on a podcast: your nervous system gets good at whatever you practice. If she keeps practicing not staying, her brain eventually gets good at not staying. By the time she hits 30, she decides, okay, now I want marriage. Now I want stability. Now I want a man I can rely on. Totally normal, totally biological. But here's the twist. When she finally sits across from a solid, grounded, emotionally healthy man, her body doesn't light up. Not because he's unattractive, not because he did something wrong. Because for years, she's been teaching her system to respond to intensity, not stability, chaos, not calm, anxiety, not safety. So when a healthy dynamic shows up, it feels foreign, flat, boring. That's what you're watching in that viral video. You're watching a woman who spent a decade bonding to adrenaline, and now she's trying to plug into peace. Her nervous system doesn't recognize it, and we're still only halfway down. Because on top of that, you've got another modern ingredient: medication. A huge number of women in their late 20s and 30s are on some form of antidepressant or anti-anxiety medication. For many, those drugs are literally life-saving. They can make the difference between functioning and not functioning. But they can also, for a lot of people, blunt emotional highs and lows. Not just sadness, not just panic. Sometimes everything gets dulled. So now stack this together. Years of jumpy, high-drama dating, repeated short-term sexual experiences, defensive detachment to survive heartbreak, social media validation replacing real intimacy, and for some, meds that lower emotional intensity overall. Put all that into one human nervous system, and what do you get? Someone who sits across from a kind man, looks at her plate, looks at his eyes, and feels nothing. Not because he's not worth feeling something for, but because her bandwidth is fried. And if you compare this to how things looked for many of our grandparents, the contrast is brutal. Back then, for a lot of people, the script was meet one person, date seriously, maybe one or two previous crushes, marry young, build together. Their first truly deep bond was also their only deep bond. No comparison, no endless highlight reel. Today the script is flipped. Sleep with multiple people, travel, experiment, chase the guy all your friends are jealous of. Keep your options open. Avoid commitment so you don't miss out. And then around 28-32, all right, time to find a husband. But here's the problem: people are not phones. You don't just factory reset your nervous system at will. If you spend 10 years training yourself not to attach deeply, you don't automatically become good at deep attachment just because the calendar changed. And that, brothers, is why so many good men are now running into this bizarre brick wall. They show up solid, They show up consistent. They show up with good intentions and real plans. And they feel like they're talking to someone with the volume turned down. This is where a deeper truth comes in, a truth most people really don't want to touch. Because up until now, we've talked about burnout and overstimulation. But there's another layer, the imprint, the best she ever had effect, the man she couldn't forget. That's where we're going next. Let's get into the part that quietly shapes female attraction, but almost nobody explains out loud. Once you understand this, that viral clip and a lot of your own dating experiences suddenly make sense. If you look back a couple generations, most people fell in love under pretty simple conditions. They were young. They had very little comparison. Their first big love often became their spouse. That person became their reference point. There wasn't a rotating cast of boyfriends. Almost boyfriends, late-night flings, trips, and situationships competing for space in their memory. Fast forward to now. The modern script for a lot of women looks more like first serious boyfriend in late teens or early 20s, that one toxic situationship she never really got over, the guy with the crazy chemistry who never committed, a few flings with high-status men she knew were temporary, experiences powered by alcohol, parties, and travel, a couple of almost relationships that burned her. By the time she hits her late 20s, she's not drawing from one or two imprints. She's drawing from a collage of memories. Here's the key. At some point in that history, almost every woman has that one guy who hit the top of her attraction scale. The one who triggered her strongest desire, brought out her most intense emotions, maybe lived a fast, exciting lifestyle, might have been out of her league in some way, and ultimately didn't stay. That experience brands itself into her nervous system. He becomes her ceiling, the high water mark for how turned on, obsessed, or emotionally activated she can feel about a man, even if he was unstable, even if the relationship was unhealthy. Her body now knows what that feels like. This is what a lot of men's communities call the alpha widow effect. She bonded intensely to a man she couldn't keep, and from that point on, every new man has to compete not just with him, but with the fantasy of who he could have been. So when a grounded, kind, responsible man walks into her life at 31, she can look at him and say, he's handsome, he's smart, he's got his stuff together. But if he doesn't hit that same emotional volume her system tasted in her wild years, it feels like a downgrade. Not logically. Emotionally, she's comparing today's reality to a highlight reel. And here's the brutal part for men. You cannot compete with a memory that's been edited by time. You can't compete with the vacation photos, the late-night adventures, the chemical rush of forbidden or unstable love, the fantasy of the man she wishes he had become. You are fighting a ghost. This is why so many men message me and say, bro, she tells me I'm everything she says she wants on paper, but she's not feeling it. What am I supposed to do with that? Or she says I'd be a great husband for someone, but not for her. Or she keeps saying she doesn't know why she's not attracted. I feel like a backup option. What's happening is simple. She was never taught to guard her ability to bond deeply. Culture told her, your 20s are for you, not for commitment. Have fun, try everything. There's always more time. A good man will wait for you when you're ready. No one explained that real attachment isn't an unlimited resource. So now there's a whole wave of women who want stability, want a family, want partnership, but spent a decade living in a way that made stability feel emotionally dull. Let me give you a real example from my own life. Years ago, I met a woman in her early 30s, beautiful, educated, well-traveled. Her Instagram looked like a tourism ad. Rooftops in New York, beaches in Tulum, ski trips in the Alps, sunset photos on boats, champagne glasses in every other story. If you asked, who's paying for all this, you didn't have to ask. We went on a few dates. She told me straight up, you're attractive, you're successful, you're grounded, you're the kind of man I should be with, but I don't feel that pull. Back then, I took that personally. I thought, what am I missing? Now I get it. She'd spent 10+ years slotting in and out of the lives of high-status men, club promoters, DJs, entrepreneurs, athletes, not building anything, just surfing attention and experiences. By the time she wanted a genuine partner, her emotional system was cooked. Overstimulated, then numb. She was exactly like the woman in that viral car video, just a few years earlier, before TikTok existed. And here's the tough question every woman in that position has to face. Is the life you were told to chase actually giving you what you wanted? Because from the outside, that highlight reel looks glamorous, but behind the scenes, lonely, confused, unable to connect with good men, feeling like dating is another chore on an endless to-do list. And this is the point where men always ask me, okay, I understand what's going on now, but what am I supposed to do with this? How do I avoid getting stuck with someone who can't connect and find a woman who actually can? That's what we're talking about next. Now we get to the part that actually matters for you. As a man, how do you win in a dating environment like this? Because you can spend the rest of your life complaining about modern women, social media, antidepressants, hookup culture, or you can look at the terrain for what it is and build a strategy that works anyway. Here's the hard reality. There is no amount of patience, reassurance, nice guy energy, romantic gestures that can undo a decade of someone else's choices. You cannot reverse the men she chased in her 20s, scrub her emotional imprints, restore her bonding capacity by loving her harder, argue her nervous system into feeling something it doesn't if a woman is truly emotionally shut down, burned out, numb, stuck comparing you to men she couldn't keep. You cannot save her from that. That's not your job, and trying to take that on as your mission will drain you. So what's the move? You build yourself into a man with real options. That is the whole game. Not to get revenge, not to impress women, not to fix the dating market. You do it so that you become the one who chooses instead of the one waiting to be chosen. Men who have options do three things differently. 1, they don't chase emotionally unavailable women. 2, they don't take every rejection personally. 3, they don't attach to someone's potential over their patterns. But you can only operate like that if your own life is strong enough that you're not clinging to any single person out of fear. That's what we're building here. On this channel, I break it down into concrete pillars every high-value man needs to work on. Finances. You don't have to be a millionaire, but you do need control. No chaos. No constant desperation. Body strength, health, energy. A body that can carry the life you're building. Mind, mental discipline. Emotional regulation. The ability to say no. Boundaries, knowing what you will and won't tolerate. Not from anger, from standards. Mission. A direction in life bigger than getting a girlfriend. Social circle. Men around you who hold you accountable, and women around you who show you different personalities and dynamics. Lifestyle. Habits and routines that reflect who you are, not just what's trending. None of those things are abstract. They're daily reps. The more you build in those areas, the less you feel the urge to beg any woman to choose you. And something interesting happens. When you're genuinely focused on your mission, your health, your money, your growth, you become calmer. You stop over-investing in lukewarm connections. You don't feel pressured to lock in the first woman who gives you attention. You move from scarcity to discernment. You're no longer just asking, does she like me? You're also asking, do I like who she is? Do her patterns make sense long-term? Is her emotional world compatible with mine? Men who get to that place, what I call top-tier positioning, don't compete with ghosts. Try to heal strangers. Pour their time into women who are still addicted to chaos. They gravitate toward women who are emotionally open, honest about their history, willing to do their own healing work, actually ready to build, not just ready to say they want to build. Sometimes that's a younger woman. Sometimes it's a woman closer to your age who lived differently in her 20s. The point isn't age. The point is alignment. You are looking for someone whose patterns support the kind of relationship you want, not sabotage it. And yes, this is work, real work. It's easier to sit around and complain about modern dating than it is to get up early and train. Build a second income stream. Read, learn, and upgrade your thinking. Say no to low-quality situations, even when you're lonely. But here's the good news. You don't have to do it alone. The men watching this channel commenting, sharing their wins and failures, that's a growing tribe. A tribe of men who think for themselves, support each other, refuse to live on autopilot, are building lives they're genuinely proud of. That's how you win in this environment, not by trying to drag someone out of numbness, but by becoming the kind of man who never has to tolerate that dynamic in the first place. Because once you start leveling up in every area, your confidence changes, your standards rise, your sense of peace deepens. You stop chasing breadcrumbs of attention, overanalyzing mixed signals, letting your self-worth hinge on whether this one woman chooses you. Instead, you take your time, observe her patterns, choose women who can connect, not just say they want to. Before we close this out, drop a quick comment saying top tier, so you remember what you're actually building toward. Not just a girlfriend, not just a date, a life that puts you in a position of choice. And if you're ready to go deeper, if you want practical breakdowns, mindset upgrades, and a community of men committed to leveling up, hit subscribe. Join the tribe and keep learning. This is your time to step up, sharpen up, and become the man who doesn't just hope for a good relationship. He chooses one.